Well, yes, we've had a whole lot of a list of celebrities and influencers come to Ghana, have great fun in Ghana. Some have gone back and have given us good reviews. In the words of Serial, he said that when they speak the truth about us, we don't like it, but when they praise us, we are all for it. Yes, that is true. How are we taking the conversation that have come up with regards to those who shared negative reviews, or not necessarily negative, but reviews about Ghana that didn't sit well with some people as well? In recent times, we also saw certain videos from persons like Jessica Clark Fund, who actually put out a video expressing her recent visit to Ghana and some of the things she saw that didn't sit well with some people in the industry. We saw the likes of influencer, media personality Nana Banamwa, who also shared her views with regards to the post that Jessica Clark Fund put up. And there were various reactions from Charlemagne the God as well after he past statements with regards to our currency. Yes, we are very much aware of it. And with regards to customer service as well. Are these things true or false, or are they just one-off experiences? This morning, we want to be delving deeper into the post-conversations or Ghana's preparedness for hosting and accommodating these huge numbers, especially when we want to promote the December in GH agenda. We'll have guests join us on the show who are experts in the area of environmental sanitation, if I can say that, to talk more about some of these experiences and what the things we can do to prepare ourselves for better hosting of some of these people and these events we have in Ghana. But before that, let's throw you back to these videos which circulated heavily, and I bet you what, even recently, I think on the Breakfast Club again, where Charlemagne the God sits, it came up again, and there were conversations about his experience in Ghana. But we have these two videos in retrospect to bring our minds or refresh our minds on what we are going to be talking about today. Do you also share the same views, or was it just far-fetched? Check it out.
Thing about the trip?
Yeah, tell me.
I'll start off with the worst thing about the trip. The service.
Wait. What do you mean by that?
The service.
They don't get service.
Let me tell you something. No. I ain't talking about phone service. I'm talking about service.
Yeah, the service. Yeah, they don't get it. Yeah.
Let me tell you something about service in Ghana.
Yeah.
It is the nicest, most terrible service you will ever receive.
Talk to me.
These people are so nice. These people are so loving. When they say welcome home, they really mean that shit. You ever walk into your parents' house and they're like, "Oh, happy to see you."
Yeah.
But ain't nobody doing shit for you.
Yes, yeah.
You got to do it. You have to go do everything that they're not gonna fix your plate. None of that. The service is terrible, but they're so nice about it that you can't even be mad.
Yeah.
So,
but then you're like, well, this is why your economy is like this.
I guess. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're trying to be a service industry, you know what I mean? I don't know, but that is one thing that you even hear people from Ghana talk about. They talk about like that is something that we have to tighten up, especially being that we're getting such an influx of tourists, not just from America, but from Europe. There's so many black people from so many different places going to Ghana. You know what I mean?
It's not a Ghanaian problem. In Colombia, I saw the same thing.
Really?
It's like I have to ask for the check 4 different times before I got it.
Really?
4 different. Can I have the check? I'm trying to pay you.
Yeah, but the check is fine. But when you got to wait 2.5 hours for food.
Oh, no, that's great.
3 hours for food.
No, that's great.
And this is when I was told to come to this place because it would be prompt service.
Oh, wow.
But other than that.
Yeah, if you're waiting, I can't imagine how long the other people are waiting.
They don't care who you are.
They do.
You think so?
I think they do. I mean, because you're an ambassador for the country. You're going to talk about your experience to all these other people. You're going to convince them to potentially
I still had a great time. I mean, I put it like this, the wait is worth it. I only had that experience in one restaurant. Every other time I had to wait, it was like room service. And then once you understand that they move on their own time, then you just...
What time would you call that?
Shut up. I did think, I said that a few times.
What'd you say?
I said, it's good to know that it's universal. You know what I mean? I did say that. I said that a few times.
Yeah.
But, other than that, man, it was an incredible experience. I think everybody should, go.
So I went to Kenya when I was 18, but then I went to Ghana twice. And there's a temple in Ghana, and the people in Ghana who are not members of the church, they resent that temple. They resent it. You go to the city of Accra, where you fly in, and everything is dusty, dirty, terrible roads, shacks. I mean, it's what you'd imagine a third world country looking like. And obviously, there's plenty of places in Africa that are exactly like America. So this is just one place that is very poverty stricken. And there's this gorgeous beautiful temple in the middle of all of that. Perfectly green, manicured grass, and it doesn't fit anywhere inside of that culture. So the people who are, some of them are starving right outside of those gates. They look at that temple and they think, you're here to, and the missionaries, bless their hearts, they're doing their job, but like they're out saying, this is where happiness is. And the people there are saying, well, why don't you guys use some of this extravagance to help feed us if you're here to serve us? So it's really interesting. So I've learned a lot about the humanitarian work that the church does that is great on so many levels, but on some levels it is not effective. And I think that really needs to be talked about. Mm-hmm. I have strong opinions about that because half my heart is in Ghana.
Wow. So I was just caught in the moment listening to, carefully paying attention to what she was saying, and as well as Charlemagne the God, whom I have a major problem with regards to the way he painted, his experience in Ghana. And this is very debatable. But before we even jump into deeper conversations, you are welcome to join us as well via our social media handles, 3 Music Networks on Twitter, where we're conversating a lot, as well as on +899 FM also on Twitter. We'd love to have your views on this. Yes, we do accept the fact that there are certain lapses, or we have shortfalls when it comes to the way we we project ourselves and the way things look around in Ghana. However, allowing people to come and share these experiences raises concerns with regards to how well we are prepared to host or to even create a bigger impact with December in Ghana. Now, we are honored to have our guest who will be joining us via Zoom this morning. It's Dr. Ashley Milton. Now, she's an environmental science and policy expert, also the founder and managing director at She Grows It, an assistant professor of political science at Florida A&M University, and she's our guest this morning. Let me get her to join us on the line right about now. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
Okay, I think I'm struggling to hear you. I can hear you in the distance, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us. You look very bright, pretty, looking very happy as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to dive into these videos.
Yes, we should talk about, already sparked a huge debate amongst ourselves in here of we all share different views and opinions on the matter as well. But let me first ask you, were you in town, or were you in Accra during that whole December in Ghana period?
Yes, I've lived in Ghana for almost 5 years now. So I've done the Dutchy December and all of the festivities. So I'm very aware of everything that goes down in December and early January.
What were your or what is your personal experience or opinion with regards to the whole activation, people coming in, our preparedness? What is your opinion on this matter? Before we jump into the 2 videos we just had.
I think it's lovely that people are coming to visit the continent, have vacations on the continent. People are repatriating and coming to live and work and invest. I think all of those things are great. And I think that with growth, there comes growing pains. So obviously there are going to be some challenges, and there's going to be some things that we're going to continue to learn and improve upon. I think the problem is with the videos is the diplomacy for me. So who's speaking for us and who really holds, I don't want to say the right, but who really is responsible for kind of controlling the narrative of what goes out there. Charlemagne the God, if this is his, birthright, first time in Ghana or even second time, I just don't think that he should portray it as negative as he did.
Okay, so hold on. I'm going to hold you on to... I'm going to hold you on to, Doc, I'm going to hold you on to the comments with regards to the 2 videos, but because I have so many questions, the team as well has so many questions to ask with regards to that. But let me first hit on your personal, experiences in all the areas, security, hospitality, ease of access, moving around, getting into the events and the experiences. I want to understand how things went for you personally.
So I think that, there are challenges with all of those things. However, I think that for us to be in this new phase, I think there's a lot for us to learn. So I think I'd rather focus on the lessons that we can learn and what we have continued to learn since 2019 when we had the first, huge influx of diaspora travelers.
Did you have a great time in Ghana enough to overshadow the flaws, or the flaws outweighed the experience?
I don't think the flaws outweigh the experience. I think the experience is the experience, and people will always take issues. So I think that if we're going to do that in a constructive manner, then let's do so. But I don't think we should be using our bully pulpit or our platforms to shame.
I like that, and this is where I personally side with you. I know Cyril, who's also in the studio here, would have his banter with you very soon. But now let's delve into, let's start with Charlemagne the God first and his comments that he passed about customer service. Does it go to, let me even find out your personal opinion on the matter and what he said.
I feel like Ghana is a 66-year-old democracy. Capitalism is our form of practice. So, of course, we're not as well-oiled and well-functioning as the U.S. I feel like I don't want to say that Charlemagne the God should be an ambassador for Ghana, because I don't believe that he can speak for Ghana effectively or efficiently. I feel like what he has said is very harmful. And I feel like it's his one experience, and I don't think that he understands the damage that does. I feel like there's such a huge disconnect between Africans and the diaspora already. There already isn't that many out of all of the African Americans that are in America looking to come to Africa anyway. And this just furthers and fuels that fire of, I don't have to have interest. I don't got to go over there. It's nothing I need to see. And I just feel like that's really dangerous, and that's wrong. I don't really feel like he should come over here with all of the wealth and access that he has and then go back and use his platform to shame an entire country, an entire sector. I just think it's harmful and it's dangerous, and he's doing it in mixed company, and I have a huge problem with it.
Even though I side with you personally, let me also play the devil's advocate here. Is he wrong with the points he made about Ghana?
I think that he was wrong because without context, he is sowing negative seeds that are doing more harm than they are good. So, yes, I do believe that he is wrong. Now, in the context of the service, I just want to
ask that. Do you think?
Yeah, I think in the
can you hear me?
Of the service.
Hi, good morning.
So you'll touch your mic and see if it.
Yes, live.
I think it's not on.
It's not on.
Yeah.
on.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't hear her though, but I hope she can hear me.
I don't think your microphone is on. I can't see the light on there, so I don't think it's on. Mic is on. Whilst you're trying to fix that, okay, she's also up for a bit. But I wanted to just jump on the heels of what G. Foley had asked her. Maybe I should skip.
I think they can hear you. Yeah, so that Cyril can.
Maybe you should come here whilst I go here. You should come to this side.
Yeah.
And prepare to ask the question.
It's fine. It's a freestyle television.
Yeah. So whilst you do that, I just wanted to jump on what you had already asked there. And whilst she was speaking, I just jotted down that aren't these, or isn't some of these experiences, or aren't they a wake-up call for us? Are they not the reality of his experience? Now, he's come to Ghana, expected that he's served within a certain frame of time. He spends 2 hours, 30 minutes waiting for common food, So for me, I'm just asking, is it not a wake-up call for us, to begin to say, oh, there are people who actually trooping in here. We have actually invited them. It is our duty to give them an experience that will get them sharing something positive about us, because he can't lie about an experience he's had.
Doc, can we have you react to that? Yes.
I Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree, right? And I think that it should be a wake up call, but I think that the thing is that I mean, it should have been a wake up call in 2019, right? And I definitely think that right now, as we see that it will continue to get bigger, we do need to kind of step up to the plate. I do think that we need to do more about food safety and standards and cold storage. And I think that those things will improve the time to table in restaurants in the hospitality space. I do think that we need to improve our standards of operation, but a lot of that comes from having a formalized private sector, which is capitalism. And I think that, the majority of our businesses are operating on the fringes of formality. They're not formally operating. So to then ask for the standards that you would normally attribute to a formal enterprise, it's going to be really difficult. So I definitely think that we have an uphill battle, but I definitely think that we should acknowledge the challenges that we're facing, and we should start to implement change so that we don't have to have all of this. But I do think it's a two-pronged approach. I think that we need to improve our business and our industries for sure. But I also think that we need to improve our marketing and our media, because who are the adults in the room that are putting out the narrative of Ghana? I do think that there's just too much of one narrative. I don't really see any adults in the room being, advocates of what diplomacy really means. And I think that a lot of these opportunities are going missed for the amount of tourism that we want. I think there could be a lot more. And, I'll just leave it there. I agree with what you're saying. I do think that we need to improve, but I also think that our marketing and our media also needs to be a bit better.
Yeah, so I hope you can hear me now. Good morning. I just wanted to put it out there that don't you think it's more the responsibility of the host to control the narrative of the experience than of the guest? Because we have opened up our doors to the whole world, and people are going to be coming here with huge platforms, even bigger than Charlemagne. If we are going to be controlling the narrative of what Ghana is and what December in Ghana is all about, do you not think we should lead that conversation in such a way that it's so amplified that conversations like these podcasts and stuff that people like Charlemagne hop on would not necessarily be the only voice out there? My problem is that I think it's because his statement is the only one in a void. Nobody is projecting all the good that happened in Ghana in such a way. When people leave, we don't chase them down. We don't get reviews. We don't get testimonials. They are not on their socials saying all this. They just move on to whatever. We had a lot of big names here. I'm not going to list them, but they all left. What is T-Pain saying? What is Toby Nigwe saying? You understand? We don't have these front and center. And whoever chaperoned these people into our borders needs to know that part of the marketing is post the event and the testimonials and the recommendations that come with it. But if you leave that place empty, whoever goes to the press first is the hero. So I don't think Charlemagne has done anything wrong per se. That was his experience, and it's his podcast, and he has every right to share how he experienced Ghana. I think the responsibility will always fall on the host to carry the story. I don't know what you think about that, and if you agree.
I definitely concur in that we need more, we need better media and representation of what's happening in Ghana. I also think that looking deeper into what we're doing, and we are leading the continent as it relates to diaspora returning, I think that we have to differentiate the travelers. I think we have to separate things from Ghanaian diaspora who are returning home from, let's say, an African American who is a descendant of enslaved Africans. So I think when we're talking about those particular populations, Black Hollywood, I think we have to differentiate between who's coming for a visit versus a vacation versus coming to live or to work or to invest. These are the things that we work on in our research and in our consulting, because I think that it really determines how you curate the experience for the traveler. So I think some of the highest travelers to please are going to be Americans, and particularly Black Americans. And I think that we understand who we are as Black people. We know us, right? We can be a lot. And so I think when you have that on top of the culture of what it means to be an American, plus the oppression of a Black American coming to Africa, it's just going to be a lot. And I think that those experiences have to be really curated. You know, when we host groups, we have to make sure that, hey, we're going to a restaurant, we're going to Kumasi, here's the menu beforehand, making sure that you're calling the restaurant beforehand, pre-ordering. I think that there's a lot that goes into hosting different types of experiential groups. And I think we have to kind of get an understanding of that. And then I think we have to kind of have a deeper strategy beyond, you know, the getting into like the nooks and the crannies of the beyond return documents and strategies, and really taking that a step further to say, if we are inviting tourists into our space, people who are coming for visits and birthright experiences, then there is certain sectors that we're going to have to improve: hospitality, food, all of these things, hospitals, all of this touches roads, urban planning. So really, it's like, are we improving these things because we have an influx of tourism? Are we improving these things because we have an existing population in the country that needs these services as well? So I think it's understanding that when we get into the priorities of what really needs to be done beyond just the marketing, there's a lot of improvement in growth and development. And like I said earlier, Ghana is a 66-year-old young, democracy. So we have a lot to learn. We're competing against, countries that have been doing it for 400 years. So there's going to be, some stumbles and some falls, but definitely better, media and control from the Ghanaian perspective, particularly the message that we're putting out around the celebrities and the Beyond Return campaign, but then also doing the work internally to kind of build strategies to get our private sector more formal, which also helps with tax compliance. So I'll leave it there, but I agree with you.
So let me just add to what you're saying, and because I side with you, and we've been having this banter as well, where Cyril also shares a different opinion, and I don't know if this would erupt that whole. So I want to ask that. So look, if we compare the U.S. and Ghana. Its economic infrastructure in the U.S. is way super advanced. Like she said, or like Dr. Milton said, this is a 400-year-old country, right? Is it 200 or 400? They're about somewhere, 200, they're about 400, right? And I'm coming, and it's as if I'm saying this because the points I'm about to make, somebody might say, Jay, why are you calling Ghana a village? It's not a village I'm making reference to. It is like I have traveled to from the city Accra, and I've gone to maybe a rural area. And in my experience in the rural area, I come back and I say that, can you believe they gave me, instead of giving me plastic, metal, lovely couch to sit in, they gave me, those kitchen stools to sit in. Who does that in the 21st century? The thing is that I feel, at that point, I feel that even for the weights and the kind of person Charlemagne the God is, when I go back, when I go back to Accra, I'm using Accra in the rural area, and I come back to Accra, I don't have to make that comparison and make it look like I can't believe this rural area delayed me in getting food. Right. When you know that where you've come to is a third world country, the mindset of the people in entirety is not the same. Like, we have pockets of people who have far advanced education, right. And yes, we have a lot of Ghanaians who live with a certain mediocre mindset because they didn't have that kind of upbringing and training. Right. An example, in our hospitality industry, the Ghanaians' understanding of hospitality is not the type of hospitality that Charlemagne the God was expecting. Okay. You understand? Okay. It will delay, but we will serve you. you get it. We will be nice to you, but it might not be in the way you expected. So
it brings me to my question. So and the question I want to ask her, yes. And I'm just jumping on the heels of what she's already said, that two things come to mind. If I was coming with an entourage where it was planned, say Jay Foley is bringing me to Ghana, Jay Foley is in charge of my experience, basically. Jay Foley knows that we are going to restaurant A, we are sleeping at B place.
Are you speculating? Sorry, Dr. Milton, to put you on hold. Are you speculating?
So I'm going to ask a question now.
Are you saying that this is what's the? We don't know who engaged Charlemagne.
So listen to my question. So listen to my question.
Okay.
So if you were bringing me to Ghana, you will be in charge of my experience. Now the question is, who brought Charlemagne to Ghana? And again, if I come by myself, am I entitled to have somebody connect me to whoever is in charge?
We have
to tailor my experience. That's what I'm asking.
We have certain kinds of diplomatic experiences.
She said we should work on our marketing and our media. So I'm asking the question based on what she said, that we should work on our marketing and our media. And I'm saying it's two different things. If you brought me, then it means that you are in charge. If I paid my way through, who is in charge of my experience? Since we are advertising,
mine isn't about. I'm going to have her answer the question, but mine isn't about who even brought him. The thing is that the kind of person he is, you understand? It's like when we sit on media, people expect us to make certain level-headed, constructive criticisms on with a certain kind of IQ. And truth be told, for someone like Charlemagne the God, considering where you sit, the influence of the Breakfast Club. Yeah, you understand?
It's not his job to protect the
Ghana.
To
go and say something that
and of all the nice things he said about you,
that is not
people to come to your country. You can't decide to
it doesn't
push on the shove on him.
Hold on.
To share his experience. I don't accept that.
I don't think that let's reverse the people and let's say someone like I don't want to mention, but we have high influential media personalities in Ghana, and I would love to pick Dr. Milton's thoughts on this. You understand? Very influential media personalities in Ghana who know that their relationship, possibly with, even though they don't have a direct relationship, that their relationship with maybe the American embassy and certain folks who play a key role in there, if I project and I say things out of context without certain parameters, I don't know, you sort of create and burn unnecessary bridges and have people even, because for me, unfortunately, I was a big fan of him, but from what he's come to do, and I feel he did it, he's lost me.
Truth in your face.
But I don't know, Dr. Milton, what do you say to the banter? And I said to you, I was going to bring the banter back.
But I just wanted her to respond to the question about, she's talking about we working on our marketing and our media. So I asked the question, if I pay my way through, how does whoever is in charge of the diaspora and affair state or maybe put somebody at the airport to say, if you see familiar faces, let them now, give them, I don't know how it's going to work. But if he came by himself,
let's hear from
who is in charge of his experience then, and how are we supposed to help tailor the conversation to suit our narrative rather than any perception they formed while being here.
Well, I believe that government policy administration, and I think that I don't want to tell who should be doing what, but I believe that the Beyond Return strategy outlines Ghana's plan and what Ghana wants to do with the Beyond Return and how it wants to engage diaspora who are coming. So I think based on that is, the first stop of where to go to kind of figure that out. I think that there's just a lot of excitement. Folks are coming, and there's just a lot of work to be done. I'm not sure if there's enough people checking in to, volunteer their time, volunteer their expertise. I don't know how to really respond to say, who's in charge. I think people bring people and then they connect to the diaspora office. I know that there was a state representative from Georgia who came, who I went to university with, who just showed up, connected with some folks, and then, ended up, meeting folks at the diaspora office. So I think that there's just kind of an organic way of how folks are kind of finding out about Ghana coming. People are coming in organized groups. People are coming on their own, and based on who they connect with and we know how Ghana is, you know, who you've introduced. And then by that, you know, channel, people are making their way up to various offices. So I think that, you know, this comes back to, you know, public administration and policy and what's going on with the administration and how is it managing. And if this is the way they want to manage, then, you know, this is what's happening.
I don't even know what to say because but we'll get to our heated banter. Doc, in your capacity as an environmental, you know, policy analyst, expert, specialist, what have you, one of the things that have become a very important conversation that many may just overlook is the sanitation problem, or shall I say the pollution that has come as a result of the jams. You know, I think like never before this year, every single day had a party or an event happening. You know, unless of course you are not in Accra. We've seen some of our A-list artists complain about their health. Joey B the last time mentioned that he couldn't honor certain performances because he had to battle with asthma. We are also in a Hamatan season, you know, so we are dealing with dust and the dryness and so on and so forth. From where you sit, talk to us about some of the things we need to look out for and how, I'm sure by the AMA has definitely listened to the show, watching the show. What are some of the things we need to look out for and how do we curtail this thing before it becomes a menace?
Okay, great question. Thank you so much for this. So one, I definitely think that during the holiday season, whether that be December or, you know, especially during Independence Day, there's an influx of just people and then waste. So I definitely think that some of the lessons that we can learn and adaptively kind of move forward on is waste management and making sure that we have waste management plans and when we have events. So if we're having a party or we're having an event on the beach or wherever the event may be at a location, there needs to be a waste management plan. And I think that normally, I guess in the U.S. or in other markets, that would come from like permitting. If you're doing an event with a certain number of people, then you have to account for security, you have to account for waste. And I think that can definitely be some of the things that, you know, AMA pushes to ensure that make sure is that, you know, we account for just the influx of people. I think that also, right, during the holiday season, particularly during December, I'm also an asthmatic, so I highly understand. So in December, what happens is, one, it's already getting hot. So the heat temperature is already rising. Most people are in Accra. So then what we have is urban heat island. So because we have all of the buildings, you have that radiating heat, plus you have all of the ACs that are going. So that's also creating heat. So it's much hotter. Then you have an influx of traffic, right? Because everyone comes, everyone wants their 4x4, their V8, their truck, wherever Bolts are going, Ubers are going. So there's just an influx of more cars, right? And we don't have, you know, as strict of a standard as a Western nation state as it relates to the emissions of the cars. So we have a lot more air pollution that's going on. There's a lot more particulate matter. So that, in addition to Hamatan and the additional heat, is definitely causing environmental and public health issues. And then on top of that, you know, we have COVID. So this is one of the biggest, you know, dirty Decembers since, you know, 2020, and we've been isolated. So now you have an influx of people from different places. These different strains are mixing. You know, it may not be as volatile and as violent as it was in 2020 or 2021, but we're still seeing, you know, COVID being passed around. Strains are elevating. So that on top of the other, you know, things that we're seeing with the car pollution, the air pollution, the heat index, all of that is definitely going to alter the healthy state or the traditional health state that it would be, you know, in like June or July when not a lot of people are in country. So you're definitely going to see an uptick of more respiratory illnesses, more, you know, congestion on top of what you would see during the Hamatan, for sure.
Are you saying this is a dynamite waiting to explode if care is not taken? Because, like you said, obviously it's not a conversation that many have paid attention to, and I think this gives us the opportunity for us to give a second look at the situation. Are you saying that if we do not take the necessary measures to prevent, because definitely every year we're going to have increasing numbers in terms of visitors coming into the country, so from where you sit, I know it is free consultation, but run us through the process through from the airports all the way to your Airbnb, all the way to booking an apartment, and then going for these events.
What do you mean, the process? Oh, what should be done? Well, I mean, I definitely think we have numbers and data, right? So we know how many people are coming in. We pretty much know where people are staying. We have a lot of data. So I think that there just has to be better urban planning. I think like 1 year, I think sometimes like even in Osu at nighttime, I think making it little things like making it walkable, reducing the amount of cars that could just drive through, right? So I think if you have a more walkable area, then you have a lot more foot traffic, a lot less air pollution in that already congested space. That also then contributes to businesses that could be open, which would otherwise be closed because now you have a lot more foot traffic. So I think little things like that, making some areas like not drivable, making them pedestrian friendly. So that way people can actually get to where they're trying to go instead of, driving from, breakfast to breakfast to, the lounge at FME Bank at Bankable Place. So I think that there's just little things that can be done to help with a lot of the influx of people, waste management practices. I think there's just a lot of public policy, little administrative things that can be done with planning and preparation based on numbers and data that we have previously that will help with that. Having airport transportation for folks when we know, so not to have so many cars and congestion at the airport. There's all types of little things that can be done, and it could really be spearheaded by the government, and then also passed down to private sector. So I think that there's just a lot of collaboration. I think there's been meetings already, but I think that it's beyond, the tourism agency. It's beyond the Beyond Return Office. We're really getting into how do we make Ghana better? And then I think the danger that we oftentimes get ourselves in is that when we ask these questions for tourism, we literally have to break down the public policy and what's going on in the day-to-day lives. And that brings us right back to the day-to-day lives. So then how can we make Ghana better for Ghana? And then that will make it better for all of the folks who are coming. And I think that that's kind of where we are right now, is that Ghana has to really be better for Ghana. It can't only want to be better for Charlemagne the God because he doesn't really care, as we see. So I think that's just kind of my take.
Hold that thought for a second, because you mentioned about policy making Ghana better. We have the deputy PRO for GT on the line. We want to get to him briefly, then we'll come back to you and then we'll continue the conversation. Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So Jay.
Yeah, we'll just reestablish the connection again with her, and we'll switch over. The points that she's raised, and I think it drills back to something that Cyril mentioned that I do side with regards to morals and ethics. And I think, Cyril, I don't know if you want to reiterate that point, earlier on when you said it's about, because it is beyond GTA office, it's beyond the return office. Yeah. It's about us, isn't it?
It's about us. I mean, all these institutions are manned by us. Mm-hmm. It's about people. So from the root cause, the psychology, the operational mindset, if it's wrong, the institution is definitely going to be a collective of wrong-minded employees, no matter what you do about the institution. So you don't fix an institution with a blanket solution. It needs to be individual. What kind of people are hired there? What kind of training? What kind of sensitization? These institutions, the Ghana tourists, those who take charge of the hospitality services, the restaurants, blah blah blah. Knowing we are having high-profile personalities in town, even the general public. What are we doing to up the game? It's not Jay Foley or Cyril coming to buy jollof. You might be having somebody who might be sitting on Fox News, just randomly strolling to come to Ghana, sit in a restaurant, and say, I want to
Money American team come to do a Black Panther production here.
Yeah, and I even saw Snowfall. You know the British.
Damson.
Yeah, they are shooting in Accra. Snowfall. They are shooting in Accra.
Snowfall.
They are shooting scenes in Accra. You understand? So it's not everybody who is going to come and crash. I know what you're doing. It's not everybody who is going to send a long message and be received with Adowa dancers at the airport for us to know that, this person, make we not take and pass here, pass this other road, do this. No, we need to get our acting order in general, because everybody is now coming. We've opened our gates. We have announced ourselves that come December, November, December, January, we are the place to become. Yeah. We have sent a beacon to the entire planet. So you cannot control who is coming. And a lot of people, look at what we were speculating with Kanye and J. Cole. Maybe he come on the low, maybe he come on the low. Why would Kanye come on the low? Because not everybody wants that noise. So imagine you had a Kanye and it wasn't a Charlemagne. And somebody there was a video of Kanye in a restaurant just eating by himself. I don't know if you guys saw it. Trending live. I don't know if you saw it. He just went in and ordered food and sat down and ate. That could have been Kanye in Accra. If he went to some Ole's restaurant, and Ole's restaurant took 2 hours to give him jollof, and he went and pulled a Kanye in America, would be upset. But do we need to know the magnitude of the personality to do the right thing?
See,
is that what we are saying?
See, let me take
Ghana. Let me not even ask Jay Foley anymore. Like, are we saying that when we know that it's Asumesi and Co, that one day let's clean up nice. Let's not let this person serve. This other person should serve. Let's get a car rental. Let's not let that driver. That driver no Casado do. My way. Driver no Casado. And he drives for your concierge.
No, that's it's a very important.
We say these things.
Yeah.
We say these things, so we know. It's not that we don't. Say driver ne casado do. Say we or quadro. You know that this person is not as fast as you'd want them to. So why are you tolerating them and building institutions around 40 tools? And then when the tools fail, you come show time. You are like, don't talk about it.
But mine is that's why I mean I side on parts of the things you say, but the other part the other one you mad is the fact that look. There are other experiences in Ghana. Okay, there are other experiences. There are other people who would give you good experiences, and you can't use one bad nut.
No, but you see,
there's a place next to your studio.
When I go to Mazera to eat, it's not about Jay. When I sit down, the place is crowded.
Let me give you an example. Let me use myself.
The flies serve be another guest altogether.
Let me give you an example.
The experience.
There's a place. The VIP section.
There's a place at Akwaje. There's a kinky place at Akwaje. There's a kinky place at Akwaje I frequent. Anybody who knows me knows that if I do so, I say I go chop. 99.9%. You catch me at the kinky. Kinky and accoutrements. I must stroke it. Everything. You know, say I go there.
Yeah.
But guess what? You know, if you chop for there without peace of mind, the cats. Boss, the cat if you sit at the edge of the long table, they watch your fish. But they can get it jump. But if I have guests,
have you been to the place in Ghana where cats watch you eat cake?
If I had a guest,
is that you take the guest there and say, is the place that?
If I had a guest and I knew that this person. So came from UK. This person came from US. They want an eating experience. Free promo. I might take them to Buka.
Yeah.
Because I know that
you eat the cat.
Everything. Jay, I go show you something. You know that everything is in order. You understand? Food on point, service. The girls and the guys, they are always smiling.
Exactly.
It's prompt, parking, everything. So we package too much. Yeah. I cry. Hey, hello.
No,
1, 2, microphone.
So exactly
the
my
packaging
point.
Is too much.
There are equal places that I also visit. On a daily.
But
back in the UK. You have. Excuse me to say. You have. Since we are mentioning. It's not in Ghana. You have maybe Lebanese run or Malaysians run or even Chinese
or Koreans.
Let me even go to Chinese who sometimes communication is difficult because of the language and sometimes take a piss like as if look, Harry, we have plenty of people here who we need to serve. You understand? Who give me bad service again in the UK? But I don't judge that and say that my experience in the UK when I went there. Can you believe that the Chinese people who were serving me food were so dumb? They were not hurrying up and they were acting up and they were acting like I didn't know my way. And I come and sit down on 3 music and I say,
"That's your experience."
Yeah, but
that's your experience, bro. Did the Chinese people treat you bad?
No, hold on. Let me finish.
Did they treat you bad?
Okay. So per the way that I have the experience I've had in the UK, I don't think that it's right for me to sit on 3 music platform and brandish the UK as if they have terrible service. It's a one-off thing. So Doc is back on the line, but finish your point.
I have an experience to share.
Yeah.
I always say that I've switched phones. I always say that anytime I use that phone back, I'll share. Look, I had a shocker. And let me tell you again, it's not because the first time I entered America, the guy I went with, we looked at ourselves, he was a reporter, we looked at ourselves and we said, is this America, is this it? Let's go back to Ghana. Because the things that we had heard about America and the club we saw was like, what's this? You see, what is this? We're driving from New Jersey to New York. I was shocked. Me see, I still have that picture. I took a picture of it. I was shocked. Like, it is, how do you say it in Brofo? It was rusty.
Yeah.
There's a toll booth on the way from New Jersey to New York. Was so rusty, but there was somebody seated in. I said, is it the same America I've heard about? And there was a guy selling in traffic. America. But what did they tell us when they come here?
You can see them lights someday.
Even America, you do lights. The person who was supposed to say, I want to tell Ghanaians that it's light off, but it was a matter of minutes.
That's what Doc means by media.
Exactly. So the marketing and the media, you don't understand. So the marketing and the media. And she said something I was very impressed with. She says, we are all just excited about it. So it's December in Ghana. This is the place everybody's coming to jam and all of that. So we are just excited about it. The question is, how many times has GTA, GTDC, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, whoever is in charge of diaspora affairs, gone to restaurants that they have statistics of, that when these people come, they go here, go to maybe hospitality industries or apartments that people they have, go to these people and sensitize them and say, look, this is not your normal period.
No, they do.
What is happening then?
No, they do. But you see, it doesn't say that if an
if
individual...
what is happening then?
If an individual falls... I have Doc back on the line. If an individual falls in the process and gives somebody like Shalom that got a bad experience, it doesn't go to say that the entire Accra experience is...
That was Accra's representative.
Doc is back on the line.
That person was Accra's representative.
I want to ask you that, what have they done about this feedback? Have they contacted him to say, which restaurant treated you this way? Let's go back to the restaurant and say, this is a complaint.
It will shock you that Ghanaians have even identified a restaurant already.
Well, so have we gone back to say what went wrong? Have we gone to say the restaurant should issue an apology and say to this person, so that, see the swiftness with which this lady who lied about Ghana, came with an apology, which is, the apology didn't make sense to me, but she still came back to us with an apology. It tells you how she wants to protect her image. But as a corporate or a specialty body, what kind of image do we want to protect? This guy has spoken about this how many weeks now? Who has responded to him? What efforts have we made to say, this is not the normal culture here, but this is one-off situation?
I've responded.
So this is an apology from maybe the restaurant or the apartment or wherever he's talking about. We apologize so that he sends another signal to whoever he's communicated to all this while that, okay, yes, he had that experience, but it's a one-off experience. So we are saying, much as he's saying that you wait 2 hours, 30 minutes to get your food, is not for everybody. It was a one-off incident. Maybe that day the kitchen got bent in the process, so we had to call the fire service over. Nobody seems to be concerned.
Instead, we are angry.
I've been very concerned. No, I've been very concerned. I'm also a person. I've been ranting.
See, when people call out the
line, please, Doc is on the line again because of the time on the link.
No problem.
Doc, please, can you join us on the conversation, please? And we want you to talk about customer service and your general impressions as well. Have we done well so far? Because yes, we're at a point where people complain bitterly about customer service in Ghana, but has it improved in any way, or are we still at that still place of not offering better customer service at places where we offer services?
Ooh. That's a tough one. I feel kind of in the middle. I mean, it's a different economic system. So if I'm comparing it directly to the US, it's incomparable. Like it has way more sauce, way more pepper. It's a completely different system. But if I'm going to talk about it from the context of the system of Ghana or of Africa, I mean, it's on par with the rest of the developing world. I don't like third world. And I think it has a lot to do with the culture. I think it has a lot to do with norms, which represent themselves in society. So I think that, really we don't have any transaction transparency. So really everybody's just there. So I think customer service is not the forefront of service. Most people are present. They're there because they need a check at the end of the day or the end of the week or month or whatever, whenever they're paid. And then it's kind of like day to day. Our society, the way that the dollar or the CD was not even seeding, there's just a lot going on in people's head such that customer service is not at the forefront. We did not create or educate a society with customer service in mind. And I think that brings us to education. So when we look at that, we understand that there's a lot of broken bits and pieces in there. So I don't think that we can look at that and then expect, the Ritz-Carlton of service when, Ghana's private sector is very much informal. So I think our expectations, we have to adjust them and realize where we are. And I think that's going to be important to how we grow, because if we're somewhere thinking that we're a U.S. standard of customer service, we're not going to grow because we're not even acknowledging our baseline. So I think that that's my opinion. It's not great all the time, but it's us. So I got to take it, and that's what it is. Especially if I want to.
I even want to debate you on this, and I know someone might say that Jay is Jay is just being what do you call it. I'm just being Jay, just saying, but the thing is that if I drill down to the fabric of or the DNA of customer service, I mean, let's pick various areas. For example, let me lower it down to, and when I say lower it down, I'm talking about in terms of maybe like, well, let me say I'm using a coconut seller by the roadside. I engage. I don't think that guy would offer me a certain customer service that would really go down to me as terrible, because they even need me more than I need them. You understand? I have never experienced a bad customer service with a coconut seller. I've not. Let me even bring brands up. I don't think I walk into a KFC and then in Ghana, in Accra here to be specific, and get some bad customer service. If I do, there's a chain of that where I can report and something will be done about it. And I've had experiences and something was done about it. Not different from the US or Canada or any other country. The only place in Ghana, one of the only places in Ghana where I feel we can all have a very valid point with customer service is the health or the health industry, where sometimes I don't know, we have challenges in that space. But aside from that, I think in all those other areas, it's just as equal as a truck driver would stop and reverse to you to pick you up, would park by the road at the wrong place by the roadside to pick you up. So I feel the issue of customer service in Ghana it cannot be generalized. I don't know if you would side with me what I'm saying.
I agree. I don't think it can be generalized. I think that so KFC is a different example because that's a Western company, even if it's Ghanaian owned. It's a Western company with Western standards and brand standards. So I think that's outside the scope. I think that, I'm gonna just stand by it really depends. It really, I can't say anything other than it really depends on who you're dealing with, the day and time.
I mean, the banks literally are
and I think it has
running
a lot
at
to do
us
with
to service when we get in there. One of pockets of misunderstandings. But I mean, on the banking sector, I don't think I have any bad experience, customer service experience that I can use to shade off all the banks and say banking in Ghana is so terrible. The reason why I have a big problem with Charlemagne the God. But Olele, please help me come in.
I mean, we have Mr. Kofi Atta Kakra-Kusi. He is the Deputy Head of Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Tourism Authority. Mr. Kakra, good morning. If you can hear us, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Good, sir.
Yes, my brother. Yes, I'm here.
In November,
please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. In November 2022, a stakeholder engagement and customer service training was held for the informal caterers by the Ministry of Tourism and by institution GTA as part of the December in Ghana campaign. Listening or having heard Charlemagne the God's comments on customer service during his visit in Ghana in December, what do you make of it? The contrast between the training that was held and his comments after.
Yes, let me kindly and respectfully give a big greetings to your studio guest, of course, Dr. Ashley Milton. Of course, Doc, my greetings, please. And then also to other studio guests, if there's any. And then also to our Honorable Minister for Tourism, Honorable Dr. Ibrahim Awa Mohammed, and his able deputy, Marco Kriko Mante, not forgetting our Chief Executive, Mr. Kwesi Agyemang, at the Ghana Tourism Authority. Let me say that, yes, like you mentioned in November 22nd last year, we had a customer training for our informal catering services. Of course, it was very important because we saw December to be very important to us as a year that, of course, we're going to have an influx of diasporans, people of African descent, a lot of visitors poach onto Ghana. And then as Ghana being the center of the world and also destination Ghana being pushed out there in terms of promotion and marketing. So this was taken into careful consideration. Of course, it is something that the tourism industry does each year to make sure that customer service in the country is at that level where we can say that, yes, Ghana, of course, is doing something new out there. Like it is, always at any point in time, this training is taken to the various regions, to the various localities, of course. But in as much as that be the case, you would have a number of these training ongoing. So, like it is, this training goes to these communities, and as much as it goes there, what we do is to ensure that at the Ghana Tourism Authority, our standards and quality assurance department goes down to the communities, down to the event centers, to the restaurants, to those who were given the training to ensure that these goes down well to the Ghanaian people and people of African descent and all those who come into the country. But of course, you're going to have some recalcitrant ones. So that also what we do is that we come back to the drawing table and then also try as much as possible to see how best we can be able to ensure that these standards are there throughout the year. But if you look at the information put out there, what the Ghana Tourism Authority has done after that is to be able to engage the stakeholders. Sometime last week, Wednesday and Thursday, we engaged the event organizers. We have engaged also the tourism industry players, which includes, of course, the traditional caterers, the restaurants, the nightclubs, and all the operators. And also, we have also engaged the security services so that we could also be able to look at some of these things that probably may be talked about in respect of disengagement. So all these things are being taken into careful consideration and being looked at in order to be able to have enough and massive training once again for our industry people. Training, of course, we also at the Tourism Authority expect that sometimes there will be in-service training within the various tourism operators so that at least they could be able to train their workers also, in as much as the Tourism Authority also undertakes training, massive training for the industry people. So these are some of the things that have been put in place in order to make sure that at least from January to December, our tourism establishments are put into the right perspective so that we can have a holistic tourism, sustainable tourism development. Thank you.
But Mr. Atta, why do we have to wait till December before we do all these things? I mean, customer service is supposed to be the bedrock of Ghana's hospitality. And from what you're saying so far, it sounds like we have just, cordoned it off just for December in Ghana because of the visitors we have. Clearly, a problem is like a pregnancy. After a while, it will show up. And it's evident that this is an ingrown problem even before we hit December. So beyond December, what are some of the measures put in place to, because it's not even just about restaurants, even in the corporate offices. I mean, if you check the trends on the internet, on social media, people bemoan some of these services all the time. And when I take a look at the statement that was made by Dr. Awal himself, he actually did this because of our delicacies, our local delicacies. But people like Charmaine the God and the likes, when they come to the country, they're not going to a chop bar, right? They're going to restaurants that are probably in the formal sector. So why would the training be focused just on the informal sector and not, the formal sector as well?
Good, my brother. Let me commend you for this question. Of course, what the Tourism Authority does is that training is undertaken the whole year round. Now, let me give you an overview of how the Tourism Authority operates. Like I mentioned early on, we have a standards and quality assurance department, and that department undertakes what we call operational visibility to the various establishments, formal and informal. And then also we make sure that we register and license these operators, okay? And then also what happens is that each year from January to December, we visit the various tourism establishments in order to make sure that they are adhering to the standards. In as much as they are adhering to the standards, what happens is that we go ahead and then issue them with operational licenses as a renewal of their licenses. Okay. Now, you mentioned that why do we wait till the end of December? We don't wait till the end of December. What the case has been always is that all year round, from January to December, there is training for industry people. And that which we did in December was meant for the December one. Right. So this training always has been there in order to make sure that the informal and formal sector are operating within the standards that have been put in place by the Tourism Authority and the tourism industry. Of course, per the Tourism Act passed in 2011, we are mandated to ensure that most of these tourism operators are within the means that we expect to be. But of course, like I mentioned early on, you would always and at some point have some recalcitrant ones that obviously, and this is the main reason why I think that sometime last year, you do recall that the Ghana Tourism Authority clamped down on various tourism establishments. It was not to victimize those tourism establishments, but to make sure that they are adhering to standards. Of course, if you do recall, some restaurants were clamped down on, some hotels, some even travel and tour agencies were clamped down. It was to make sure that they are adhering to the standards that have been put in place by the Ghana Tourism Authority. So that should tell you that we don't only wait for December before undertaking these operational activities. We always do it from the year round, from January. As I'm speaking with you, we have some of our officers on the field, ensuring that these hotels, restaurants, nightclubs, car rentals, the entire tourism value chain is adhering to the standard. So this is something that is really is up to the Ghana Tourism Authority under the leadership of our
Mr.
Chief
Kusi,
Executive,
if you can
Mr.
hear me.
Kusi Agyemang, ensuring that these standards are adhered to, my dear brother.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I just wanted to pick on some of the things that you've already said. Initially, I was going to ask you whether you are in charge of certification and whether you go to check how these people are operating. I want to understand, when you go to give this renewal of operational certification, what are some of the things that you look out for? Is it just the environment of the place, what you're serving, and how wholesome the food is? Tell me what you look out for so that we can know whether we are dealing with the right issues or not, per the feedback we are getting. Yes, you've gone ahead to do your customer service awareness and all of that. Now, when you go to check these people and the operations, what are you looking out for? It's just what I want to know.
Good. We virtually have like I mentioned early on, that when we go to these operators, we have the Standards and Quality Assurance Department that undertakes these operations. And as it is, we are to come and then inspect your facility, register the facility, and then grant you the operational license, which of course would help you to be able to serve to the general public, and then also be able to have the necessary business that you deserve. Now, what the Tourism Authority, of course, you know that we work hand in hand with some analogous institutions like the Food and Drugs Authority. We worked also closely with the Ghana Standards Authority. So, and then also the Environmental Protection Agency. Okay, good. So each of these agencies, we all have what we look out for. With the Tourism Authority, what we do is to ensure that you are adhering to the standards. If I say the standards, of course, how is your kitchen outlay, right? How is probably your environment, right? And then also, how free is your place? Do people have the space to operate there, like in terms of your sitting area.
So I think that now I have established, Mr. Kusi, where the issue is. So I wanted to know what you're looking for before renewing, giving license. In all of what you have said, you have not told me that you have stationed people or taking people there to know how the customer service of the units is going. They've done all the facility check, they've adhered to the standards and all of that. But now we are lagging behind when it comes to customer service, because if you look at the conversation going on and the reason why you are even going to create awareness, it means that there's an issue with our customer service. So why is there not somebody going there, maybe anonymously, to go sit down to check the operations of these people, when we know that we are inviting people over, and when we know that per your reason for going to sensitize these people, there could be an issue of customer service? Why is it not part of the standards that you are being held on to?
Well, I think I want to respond first, if possible. I think that
please, if you hold that, I want to hear from the Ghanaian perspective what they are doing at GTA before you bring your professional perspective. That is it.
Yes, just as you indicated, you are saying that it looks like we don't look at the customer service. It is one of our main agendas why we train these operators. So if you say that I'm not really connecting with you, the Ghana Tourism Authority is to ensure that customer service is right out there. Now, what we do is to be able to put out.
Okay, we have a still block on his, or still picture on his connection there, but I think we can pick up Dr. Milton's reactions on the issue. Doc.
I just was gonna say that I feel like with customer service and standards, it's a completely different agency. Even though tourism deals with it as well, I think there's just the Ghana Standards Board or Standards Agency that deals with the standards of business. And I think it kind of brings me back to the point of it can't just be tourism. It has to be, are we making Ghana better for Ghana? And I think with the standards agency doing its job, there could be more done as it relates to the businesses that are specifically serving tourism. But I think it's going to be difficult if we don't have our own, set of standards as it relates to customer service. And I think that's a lot of job on the government. Normally, there's some sort of Better Business Bureau or nonprofit organization that's not government or quasi-government, that's not government or private sector, that kind of serves as the check balance between, the folks that make the policy and the folks that are implementing. And I think that that's also something that we can do. I believe that a lot of websites are tracking, Google has reviews. And I think that those are things that our businesses can use as data points for improvement. But I think that there just has to be a more cultural approach to customer service and in the service industry that has to be taken.
Before we let you go, because time is fast spent, thank you so much for staying with us. Just a quick one. Still coming back to your office, which is, policies that has to do with the environment. In your 5 years of being in Ghana, have you had the opportunity to take a look at the policies that are currently available, and what do you think are some of the changes we could make or amend to effectively achieve some of the goals you've already highlighted when it comes to preserving the environment and avoiding all this pollution and all these dust that we are dealing with?
That's kind of a loaded question. I would say that there's a lot to be learned from, being a 66-year-old democracy that, Western governments have ebbed and flowed and learned from. So I think that's one. I think a second point is that, we should be more pushing towards policies that help educate our business owners such that we can have more formal businesses operating in our private sector. So I definitely think there needs to be more pathways to formalization for business, which I think starts with education and training. And I think my third point, how do I want to end this? I think that we need a marketing and engagement strategy as it relates to what is the narrative that we want to push. I definitely think that we need to control the narrative of what's going out there about Ghana. I don't think that it should be similar to what social media is saying. I feel like it should be very diplomatic, very focused, and very led in the sense of where we want to lead the diaspora when they come to visit Ghana. So I think that, but I think coming back to the environmental health and safety, we definitely need to make sure that we have waste management plans. I think that's going to be critical. I heard the gentleman mention having different stakeholders around the table. I heard security. I did not hear anything about waste, anything about noise pollution. So I think that what we can do is start at the local level with the AMA and think through and gather a lot of the data of the negativity that comes from when we have such an influx of people, and then start to understand how can we make change. So I think that definitely starts at the AMA level with getting waste management strategies on the books and making sure that they're associated with large scale events that happen. And then more urban planning to deal with the car pollution. I think that would be
well, Dr. Ashley Milton, environmental science and policy expert and founder and managing director at She Grows It, assistant professor of political science at Florida A&M University. Thank you very much for being our guest this morning and giving us insights. We'll definitely have you again another time for similar conversations.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
You're welcome. So,
I'm still waiting for the.
We've been trying to establish connection
because
again.
I want to ask questions because if he says that, and Doc said something that I don't think she heard what he said, that he says they're working in partnership with these people. Mm-hmm. So if your major problem for your people who are tourists in your country is customer service, then if you're working in conjunction with these people, you definitely have to call their attention to do that part of the bargain. And then secondly, if it is true that they are also constantly checking how these people's customer services, are, or how they render services to customers, then they should have been taking this issue from Charlemagne by now. Yeah. We should have heard them say something that, okay, we've gotten in touch with him. We know this restaurant because we are in charge and we are constantly, yes, that's what I want him to answer, because we know that maybe they are punitive.
So we can find out
measures,
first, have they heard about the...
No, but he answered when he started the question with him.
That he's aware of it.
He said because of that they had to take.
He made reference to that, so he's not that he's not aware.
I was going to give the example that when people complain about banks, especially online, the first thing the bank does is they reach out, even the telcos. Mm-hmm. Somebody says, my network,
Swift.
Then they reach out and they say, oh, Jay, sorry, you have more customers to deal with. Yes, sorry. Oh, your network, where do you stay? Oh, somebody will get to you, blah, blah. And by the time they help you resolve, you now will come back and say, oh, thank you so and so for the great service. You guys sought me out while you gave the tourist people have let this Charlemagne thing delay for 1 week.
I was going to ask a question about.
I was going
to ask a question about to appreciate GTA a bit more. I wanted to ask him about their challenges, and he should be honest about maybe it's the staff capacity, maybe it's funding, to be able to execute, because I don't think that, I'm very sure they are very much
we asked this question earlier on.
So sometimes let's
everything was in order. When we had the interview, I was sitting there.
You this my friend.
Yeah, hi.
But he's telling you that you are always against people telling you that.
He said he was going to take somebody to the Kengi place,
the cat place,
with the cat place. And I was worried about the tribe.
I need to.
But the point Cyrilla just made is very true about how the telcos, react and the bank reacts so quickly, and they have more customers
because they understand the power of
they have money.
Oh, bro.
Please. So how much does it take?
Oh.
But you see,
That's
Jay,
like
the reason why I mentioned
Yeah.
the disparity between the informal and formal sector, he says they do for both. Like, that's according to him, because the training that was done for December in Ghana, according to the statement, was for the informal sector. The informal sector is as somebody say chop bar or something, but
like his basics,
yeah, like you're thinking, you get me. But I want to believe where Charmaine went was probably a restaurant in the formal sector.
True.
Now, the ideology or the understanding is because they're in the formal sector, they should know better. And so the focus was given to those in the informal sector.
But these are the people who you are able to regulate.
Exactly.
Rather. The formal sector they are the ones you are able to regulate.
You are even taxing and everything.
So
they should even get more of the energies that you send to the informal sector. But he says,
if there's a punitive, is that what the word is?
You know,
punitive measure.
The restaurant,
it happen. If you're clamping down on restaurant because the environment is not good enough, and because they are
and you even put out a list.
Exactly.
Put out a list. Name and shame.
People said they went to hospital eating here and that. Customer service should become a big issue that when you get a number of complaints about a certain facility, you should be able to do your investigation and say, per that reason, if you don't
revoke your license.
Exactly. If you are going to take my money for renewal, if you are making sure that I have you know what the thing is, they have a certification on the wall.
Yeah.
That says that they are GTA approved or certified.
Yeah.
So when I'm entering, then I'm looking at they say that GTA has approved them. So I'm expecting that they behave according to GTA standards.
I'll come in and say this: that when somebody renews your certificate, you understand the post-engagement or how you run the service. It's like you go to DVLA to renew your license. On your way there, you shine yourself and you go there. You understand to do your roadworthy. You shine yourself
anonymously.
But when you drive out of DVLA, when they finish doing their job per what you brought and what they expected,
that's why the police is by the road waiting for you.
So now we need
go there, like a customer.
So the question I wanted to ask, what I wanted to ask him in addition to that, I mean, I'm siding with you, is that do they have, let me call them soldiers, on ground to go? I mean, soldiers in the context of people who go out and make sure things are done right, to prevent.
Yeah.
Like do they have people just go there, or maybe it's not their duty? Because for all you know, it's not within their.
But they said they are in collaboration.
No,
so if the problem is your tourist,
so
you see, the problem is, so it's like Jay Foley. We are here.
I don't know.
No, I'm just saying an example. So we are 3 Music TV. Now there's an issue with 3 Music Awards. The Music Awards. You see that we are 2 different people, but are operating under one umbrella and seeking maybe to achieve a common goal. Now, if everybody says, 3 Music TV is this, that, the award has the opportunity to speak. We'll say, Charlie, when we go by the road, this is what people are saying about you. What are you doing about it? You understand? Because we are in collaboration. Whatever you do has a dent on my reputation. Like Doc said, okay, it's Standard Bots that is in charge of that. But he said, we are working in collaboration with Standard Bots. So what are you feeding Standard Bots with? To help you achieve your goal. You understand? So if you're doing a collaboration, it's not even within your domain. You should be, it is affecting your domain. You are in charge of tourists, not Standard Bots anyway. Now, this reputation that is gone out there, nobody's talking Standard Bots. People are talking to tourists who are ready to come to Ghana. This is a tourist experience. So if I was in America, Charlemagne, the girl says, customer service is wrong. What are we doing to change the narrative so that nobody just wakes up, says anything about us? It goes viral, and we are in a frenzy about it, and we just leave it like that. Yeah. You understand? That's the problem I have.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I disagree with you.
The lady made a good point about media. Marketing.
Yeah.
Whichever restaurant this is has just lost the opportunity for a global spotlight.
That's right.
You see, the Yawa happened already. To have the guts to reach out and own the moment that we were happy to host you. This is what happened. Unfortunately, we are always going to be here. This is who we've been. I'm not sure the restaurant has been in business for however long and has been delaying people's food 2 hours, and they managed to stay in business. They had a bad day. Yeah. Listen, marketing has changed. The reason why your bank and your telco is on Twitter with you is because they are trying to humanize their brand. They want
to hold your neck.
They want to humanize.
Water down everything. So if Theodore was on GTV4,
bro, I saw it. I know what you're.
Somebody posted.
I know you.
They said, why are you doing this concert. They don't believe that. Haven't you shown you enough concerts?
Hitler, I know you. I
think that was just a brilliant response.
You see,
so
why are all these brands, which used to be brick and mortar, upscale, uppity brands, why are they now on your social media? Because it's time to humanize brands. So if you're a restaurant and you had an international celebrity like Charlemagne the God, who is sitting next to one of America's young successful stand-up comedian, Andrew Schultz, the two of them in a room discussing this thing, and the whole world has seen this, media is carrying this, what is stopping you from owning that shame and turning it around? We only think in good press. If he had gone to say, "Oh yes, I had jollof at Foley's restaurant," and then they would have posted that video till our ears fell off.
Since you don't respect my weight, I was at I think it's Le Pavilion or something. It's in La Bonnie. Let me say, shouts to the manager.
They get VIP treatment.
No. I also walked in.
You walked in, John. There were no cuts.
Jay the God. Jay the God. I just walked in and
Jay Lemaine.
Yeah, Jay Lemaine, and then I he two waiters came to me, not even one, two, and the manager himself as well, and I think the customer service was apt, and I give it to them. Well done. They say give credit where credit is due. So Le Pavilion or so.
Wait, what's easy? You can't even mention the name.
And then the food was great as well.
Mr. Atakakra says he wants to clarify a few things and answer Ms. G's question. So the team will just get. We have just about 2-3 minutes to go. The team will just get him the link for him to clarify. I think
because it's left hanging and it might make the agency look also bad.
So if the team could quickly send us the link so that he could join. And as we wait, we want to read a few comments
but for me, like I'm saying, I see it as, well, look, GTA has done, and that's why I was coming back to you before I said I agree and I disagree with you. GTA has done what they can do. You understand? And it's measured to what Cyril said. The fabric of, or how we are, the morals and the ethics of Ghanaians sometimes goes back to destroy the good works of what some people are doing out there. You understand? Right. Because all it just took was for this particular restaurant or accommodation or wherever it is to do what was right. And amplify what GT has been doing all this time by organizing Beyond the Return and Year of Return and all that. So we lost out, not through the fault of the leadership, but through the fault of the following, who just didn't do it right. That's how I see it as.
The individual.
And I also feel that Charlemagne the God, if I was to speak to you and is in probably through harder jobs, think I make a same because on crowd, the person with such a weight as well. I mean, it's fine. Like, we can go back and forth on this, but I feel that we do understand that you can. It's your own visit. It's on your own timeline. But who you are also matters, and
that's why who you are is sharing the experience.
I would just have been glad if you. But the way he went about it, look, they are nice people. Yeah, make you feel so bad, like you're nice.
No, but Jay, I think it's an opportunity for us to
because under persons like I know their names are people who destroyed humanity. From what you call it, Idi Amin and Hitler and Papa we.
Another thing we beg the tourist people and those who are invited. That Dua dancers. It's okay.
No.
We know that. Oh, Charlie.
They should do what again? What should they do this time around? They should not dance at all. They should what
I just want to say that because we are very much on the topic of customer service. We'll look to bring an expert in customer service tomorrow, God willing, to really come and look at this holistically, because it's not even just happening in the restaurants, in our own small way. I mean, people don't understand what it means to actually render a service. I mean, it's just Charlemagne, but what about the other diasporans who don't have big names, who have also taken feedback back? Feedback back.
And whilst we're looking at that too, the clerk issue, we didn't even look at it at all, because it's not about customer service.
I am sent me an update on that.
How people come, share experience that are lies.
And
who is helping us, control the narrative. And so Nanaba took it upon herself to tag her, tell her a peace of mind. And she rendered an apology, which is not even an apology, because she said we took her out.
Don't they even have the institution, the Mormon institution that she said she was here for? Could they not make some statement.
Yes.
So hold on.
who is
Let me
making
just
sure
read
that
this.
the narrative
Our time
about
is up.
us
Let me read
is
this. It says,
well-controlled?
"Good morning, Jay. About your big conversation today. I wish I was in the studio." He says, "This is because I'm a member of the LDS Church, same as the lady. I visited the TikTok account that shared the video and realized it had videos of ex-members narrating bad experiences as well. So I think the context she was referring to is that the church has built a beautiful temple in an area that is dirty and dusty with bad roads, and the people in Accra resent the temple. And in her opinion, the church's humanitarian efforts should be to eliminate the problem instead of building the church as such an extravagant structure." That's from Kweku Rojeje.
Is that
as well.
place
Our time
dirty?
is up. We
It's
have
just
to
opposite
go
the
now.
Nigerian High Commission.
We have to go
Do
now.
you know that?
Yes.